Jessie.
And my name is Aaron. This was me when I started.
And this is me when I was younger.
We got married on Valentine's Day.
And love our life in the theater.
Look at the cool parents-in-law I got in the deal.
We had dreams of exploring live theater spaces around the world.
Talking with great artists and sparking deep conversations.
To bring people together in our experiences of life in art.
And this is our show.
Theater
Unscripted.
Carol.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Hi, Carol. Hi.
Yeah, you were probably wondering where we were.
I was. Safe distance. We're taking it to the max.
We take it very seriously,
Yes.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking me. I don't know what we're going to do, but thank you for asking me.
We are so honored.
I mean, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I've been really busy because, obviously we're all having to stay inside, but I teach college, so I have been having to create all of these different wonderful ways to connect to my students online and virtually and Zooming, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's hard because I have to try to keep that connection with them. So I make them, and yes, I say make, I make them meet with me once a week because I think it's really important that we continue to talk to human beings because we're getting way too comfortable staying inside our house.
Absolutely. And relating to one another is, it's totally changing our world on a certain level. And so, I mean, that's what I really miss about theater is the capacity to build empathy, right? And so as an instructor, especially of college, what a great moment in time to really hear that call.
Well, and what happens with virtual and Zoom and the online connection is something that I never even thought about, is that you have to realize that not everybody has the same experience at home. When you're in a classroom, everybody's sort of on an even, playing field, right? You're just sitting in a classroom that's owned by the school. But I never even thought about how hard it must be that the student has to sort of open up their whole entire life, right? So they have to open up, who's behind them, and maybe they share a room with somebody, and maybe they're disturbing somebody who just worked graveyard. So what I try to tell them is just have a blank wall, a curtain or a blank wall, and then that creates that sort of relaxation and feeling open and feeling like, everybody has a blank wall. Everybody has a plant, everybody has a curtain. So I think that was a learning curve for me that I didn't really even think about until.
And what do you think? I mean, I feel that we probably all sense this, but being forced onto this new platform, this new world, then when we're able to go back, though it will be a slow process. I mean, we talk about all the time when we watch a film or anything, it's so internally set that we think they're too close together. What are they doing? But when we get back to it, we'll now be empowered with all these skills that we were forced to sort of grapple with.
Absolutely. I mean, I would like to think that, I don't know what people are doing in their environments at home, but I would like to think, hopefully, that we're becoming better at really being cautious and careful and respectful of people's spaces. You're really not sure what you're going to do when you go back into the real world. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to notice being respectful of each other's space and what feels comfortable, and hopefully more conversations will take place where people will definitely say, is it okay if I'm this close to you? Is it okay if we do this? And I'm hoping that maybe we're learning from this whole experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
And as you say that, I think about this new incorporation of intimacy coordinators. Is that what they're called? Right? And then touching on this ball of mud or what is to incorporate that into the knowledge, the education, and the sensitivity towards your fellow artists.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in a show right now, and we've had to postpone it a couple of times, and it's a very, very intimate show, and we're going to go up hopefully in February. Rehearsing wise, could be virtual, could be Zoom. I don't really know. But yeah, it's a very intimate show, and that's the very first time I've been introduced to that person. That's part of the crew, the intimacy coordinator. And I actually think that it's a really great idea no matter what show you're on, because if you're working with children, you're working with somebody who maybe they have a spouse and it makes them uncomfortable. I think this is a great way to start these conversations and realize that I think we all need to just honor and be respectful of each other's space, and where do we draw the line? When do we step over the line? Yeah.
And speaking of that, and I'll pass this off to you, is speaking of lines drawn and sort of subject matters to tackle.
Right.
I mean, there are we have our subjects to tackle, the topical things. So,
Right.
what do you?
Well, I think, starting from that quote about comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfortable.
Yes.
Right? So now we're moving away from comfort as an artist into comfort and society, theater as a mirror, right? Where do you think that we as artists will really fall after we return to the live stage?
Right. Well, I always tell my students that sometimes I'm teaching students where, theater is not really even part of their grammar, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's many times where I teach like a big lecture class, it's Intro to Theater, and I'm introducing them to all aspects of theater. And some of them really, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And I always say to them, when you go and work out, or when you spend time with your family, or even when you're alone, is it in silence? And they say, no. And I said, so there's music, right? So you have some sort of soundtrack to your life. And they're like, yeah. And I said, and why do you put the music on? And they're like, because I want to feel a certain way. And I said, exactly. And I said, so the thing is about theater, and what's so special and what's so beautiful about it, is it's a healing environment, right? So we're in an environment with another human being, and they're there at the same time that we are. And you can't compare the two. Like with Netflix, or if you're in a movie theater, when we all get to go back to a movie theater, you could leave if you wanted to, and the story would still continue, right? So the story would still go on. But with theater, if you leave, you miss something. So what I try to tell them is that theater, it's reality. It is a shared space that you will never really ever understand unless you're there with that other human being, and you see them sweat. And if they make a mistake, you get excited because you're wondering, how are they going to fix that? So what I try to tell my students who have no background in theater, the reason that theater is so exciting is because you see yourself on stage. And so I think that no matter if they're watching the Kings and Queens of England, or they're watching, August Wilson's Fences, there is a humanity there. There is a human connection that you have with that person, that maybe they're your father, maybe they're you, maybe they're your brother, maybe they were you last year. And you can't separate the two. But with television and with film, maybe that's you, maybe that's not you, but you can always put pause on it. But I think that that's what's so exciting. So when I am allowed to give the gift of theater to a student, I get so excited about that, because I'm hoping that I've opened up a door for them and they will continue to keep walking through it. But I think with what you said, it's healing for both people, right? The actor and the audience. It's healing for me every single time I get the honor of walking on a stage. But it's just this amazing experience that we'll never have again. But we shared that in real time, and I don't think you can put a price on it.
So my question to you is, as an artist, what is our responsibility towards a lot of the subjects at hand this year? I mean, we had AB5, then we had COVID, then we have the struggles that have been unfortunately ever present, that have come up with race relations and the breakdown of that. what is our responsibility?
Even before that,
Yes.
sorry to
No,
interrupt,
no,
but
no.
even before that, the Me Too movement, right?
Yes.
So all of that
And
encapsulated.
ageism, sexism.
So this huge question.
What is our responsibility when we get back?
Well, I think the most important thing, to me, this is where it all starts, and this is where I always start any intro to theater class. It starts with the writer. And so if you want to be able to give opportunities to women over 40 or people of color, people who have different stories to tell rather than just the same stories that keep getting regurgitated, then you have to write them. So I always tell my students, don't expect somebody to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And if you don't know how to write, then maybe you can work with other people who have ideas and then you guys can brainstorm together. But if you're a screenwriter and it says a large group forms, well, typically it's going to be a large white male group that forms. You have to say who is in that group. And you have to be really, really specific. And so I think that if you want things to change, you have to be part of the change, obviously. But you cannot just wait for somebody else to open that door, open that window, and say, here, I have this for you. You have to fight for it yourself. You have to really, really be clear on what you're asking, right? And if you expect somebody else to do it for you, they're not going to do it for you. And I know that sometimes that can kind of scare people because they're thinking to themselves, well, I don't have huge backing. I don't have a lot of money to do that. But I just finished doing a really wonderful small homeless film that was a larger film, and it was 30 minutes, and we had a nothing budget. We did it for $3,000. None of us got paid, but it was a passion project, and it was something that was really, really important to the writer, the director, and the producer. And so what she found out is she had to have a large amount of money to be able to distribute this. So she, had a little mini meltdown and a breakdown, and she thought to herself, now what am I going to do with this work? And so she broke it up into 3 different films. And so now it's a trilogy. And now she has entered it into various different film festivals, and we've done really, really well. I mean, we've won quite a few national and international film festivals. But until she really sort of broke it down and figured out, what can I do to move this forward? She felt lost. She felt that she didn't know what to do. So that's the thing. I think that you have to create the work. You have to make sure that you are definitely being inclusive. Who is the audience? Is it women over 40 who, have a really hard time after they get over 40 to find any kind of work? Well, then don't just complain about that there's no work for you. Create it. So if you feel that there are not enough roles for people of color or certain communities are not being represented, then you need to do something about it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there is not one person that's going to knock on your door and say, hey, I have this wonderful role for you. I have this great part for you, and I can't wait for you to do it. Even though you don't have any credits, it's yours. It's not going to happen. So if you want these things to happen, you have to create them. And, that's the beauty about theater. It's a collaborative art. So it's not a one-man show or a one-woman show, because who's going to light you? Who's going to do the sound and who's going to do the costumes? So that is why theater is one of those ways of expressing yourself, or film or TV or any of these types of expressions that allow other people's opinions, other people's visions, and it definitely takes more than just one person. It takes a community, and if you want to see certain stories, then you got to be part of, the wheel that keeps that going.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Well, now what?
All right. Quick answers. Are you ready for this?
Super quick.
All
Rattle
right.
them off.
This is how we're gonna do it. We would love for our shows to have just these same go-to questions that we're just genuinely interested in. Okay. So question number 1: do you have a dream production? What is it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I'm in it. I think I can reveal. So I got cast in Angels in America, and I'm really excited about it. We've had to postpone it for a few times, but I really think we're going to go up next year. And I get to play 4 different characters, and I get to play 2 guys, and I'm very excited about that. So I think I got it.
There you go.
That is amazing.
Awesome.
I can't wait.
Dream coming real. I love
Cannot
it.
wait. Okay, next question. Was Shakespeare the sole author, yes or no?
I believe 100% he was, but here I go with this. If honestly, with all of the technology, if you can't prove it by now, give me a break, back off, you can't prove it. But the other thing is, we are all artists that collaborate with each other. So yes, there might have been one or two plays. I think it was one of the Henrys that he might have talked to somebody and somebody might have given them some feedback. But come on, we do that with each other all the time. So yes, Shakespeare wrote it all.
Okay.
All right, and final question. All right, theater is full of superstitions. Do you subscribe to any of the superstitions? And if so, which one?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is a superstition, but I will not become the character fully until I put my shoes on. That's just me. I absolutely will never say the Scottish play in a performing space, even if it's a classroom that maybe, you know, some lady could be sitting there playing the piano. I will never, never, never do that. I don't like it when people say good luck. It scares me. I'm like, take it back, take it back. Yeah. Yes, I always have to break a leg.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, that was, I'm so glad you got to come
pleasure.
in.
And we have a little surprise
Yeah,
for you.
just a little thing.
So, go ahead.
Well, if you would please stand.
I'm gonna stand. All right, here we go.
And then if you would walk around to the back of your chair.
I'm very good at
reach
taking
down and there is a little soft white little piece there for you.
Oh my goodness.
And let's see it. Let's check it out.
Oh.
It's a little
Yes,
You got
Theater
swag, lady.
Unscripted.
Swag,
Hey, I
you
know that.
bet.
That's our show.
That's our
Theater
show.
Unscripted. That is our show.
Aw.
Yeah. So that is yours. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for
coming.
being here
That was
and
amazing.
under these circumstances.
Yeah, and
my
at
goodness.
this, I love you close, but I love you at this distance too. So you know.
Well, it's nice to socially distance.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you. Have a great time, and we hope to see you on the board soon.
Yeah, we'll keep
I
in
hope,
touch.
I hope to see you as well. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Carol Damgen.
Thank you.
Carol.
Yay.